Next we have the Daily Wire from yesterday, July 18th. It begins. Feds in camo nab suspects in Portland. Drive off in unmarked cars. I think I read that on Friday. The headline, at least. Anyway, I don't really have a problem with this. Honestly, I'm just so sick of this shit. Federal unit behind arrests in Portland reportedly identified. Pelosi smears them, makes false claims. Okay. Suspect who allegedly attacked 3 New York Police Department, NYPD, officials is released from jail without bail. Officials, NYPD officials. Does that mean cops, or do they have a different job? Released from jail without bail. That's getting old. I mean, what is so bad about at least requiring some fucking bail money? Why do people keep getting let go? Find them. You know? Just do something. Mask up. Houston Rockets and NBA promote pic of James Harden wearing pro-police face covering. I just recently heard about this, but he apologized and said, he didn't know what it meant. Fucking cowards. The whole world full of cowards. Former employees rip Ellen DeGeneres' show. Be kind. Bullshit only happens when the cameras are on. Okay. Are they ever going to stop going after Ellen DeGeneres? Is she going to have to get canceled? I'm just saying, it's getting old. Moving on. The Daily Shapiro from yesterday evening. Safety lies only in surrender or resistance. I feel like I've read this, but maybe it wasn't on one of these episodes, so. This week, Gadfly New York Times columnist Bari Weiss resigned her position at the so-called newspaper of record. She did so after years of fielding slings and arrows from her own colleagues and editors who treated her as an ultra-conservative enemy. This despite the fact that her perspective on the world is an eclectic mix of social progressivism, skepticism toward regulation, and foreign policy hawkishness. Personal disclosure, I, along with many people right, left, and center, consider Bari a friend. The pressure on Weiss from within the newspaper had reached extraordinary proportions. Excerpts of staff's Slack chats revealed colleagues openly discussing why Weiss ought to lose her job, maligning her as a bigot, and suggesting publicly that she is a liar. So Weiss quit, and she burned the bridge behind her. Yeah, and some people are, hailing her and what she said as some new... the start of some new and long overdue campaign against cancel culture. But, I mean, it's just a case of it not bothering somebody until it's knocking on their own door. Where's she been this whole time? Federal unit behind arrests in Portland reportedly identified. Pelosi smears them, makes false claims. Wonder what those false claims are. Maybe I'll click on that. I don't know. Rioters attack police officers in Chicago while trying to destroy statue. Shocking. Not shocking at all. This is tiresome. Biden is a Trojan horse for a radical agenda, Mike Pence warns. Yes, very true. He keeps adding more and more radical stuff to his platform. What with the partnership with Bernie stuff, and now he's got his own Green New Deal type of thing. Just great. Alright, let's see what this says. It's loading. It's loading. It did not load the right thing. La 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 la. Let's try again. There we go. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, smeared federal law enforcement officials on Friday night while making false claims about the continuing violence and rioting in Portland, Oregon. Unidentified stormtroopers, unmarked cars, kidnapping protesters and causing severe injuries in response to graffiti, Pelosi claimed. These are not the actions of a democratic republic. DHS Gov's actions in Portland undermine its mission. Trump and his stormtroopers must be stopped. Stormtroopers. First Amendment speech should never be met with one-sided violence from federal agents acting as Trump's secret police, especially when unidentified, Pelosi continued. This is disgraceful behavior we would expect from a banana republic, not the government of the United States. Ugh. Far-left publication The Nation reported on Friday that a unit from Customs and Border Protection, CBP, was behind the arrests in Portland where federal officers used unmarked cars to roll up and made arrests in response to violent riots that have rocked the city for nearly 50 days straight. The Portland arrest of Mark Pettibone, first reported by Oregon Public Broadcasting, followed several similar arrests involving officers from a Border Patrol tactical unit, CBP's equivalent of a SWAT team, as well as the U.S. Marshals Special Operations Group, the report said. A CBP spokesman confirmed to The Nation that CBP agents were responsible for the arrest, pointing to authorities under the Protecting American Communities Task Force. Pelosi's claim that the officials were kidnapping protesters in response to graffiti is wildly misleading. The Washington Post documented one man who was arrested in the process that he went through, which resulted in his brief detainment and release. He was detained and searched, the Post said. One man asked him if he had any weapons. He did not. They drove him to the federal courthouse and placed him in a holding cell. 2 officers eventually returned to read his Miranda rights and ask if he would waive those rights to answer a few questions. He did not, the Post added, and almost as suddenly as they had grabbed him off the street, the man let him go. Why? Pelosi's use of certain phrases and terms, including stormtroopers, Trump and his stormtroopers, and Trump's secret police, could be interpreted as an attempt to smear them as Nazis, which is something that the political left has repeatedly done throughout the Trump era. During Adolf Hitler's rise to power, the Sturmabteilung, called the SA, and Brownshirts was a paramilitary organization that inflicted violence and intimidation that helped Hitler gain power. They were also known as stormtroopers. The Gestapo, also known as the Secret State Police, was non-uniformed police who used ruthless and cruel methods throughout Germany to identify and arrest political opponents and those who refused to obey laws and policies of the Nazi regime, the Holocaust Encyclopedia reported. In the months after Hitler took power, the SA and Gestapo agents went from door to door looking for Hitler's enemies, socialists, communists, trade union leaders, and others who had spoken out against the Nazi Party were arrested, and some were killed. Pelosi's claim that the federal authorities were deployed because of graffiti is categorically false. Each night, lawless anarchists destroy and desecrate property, including the federal courthouse, and attack the brave law enforcement officers protecting it, acting DHS Secretary Chad Wolf said. A federal courthouse is a symbol of justice. To attack it is to attack America. Instead of addressing violent criminals in their communities, local and state leaders are instead focusing on placing blame on law enforcement and requesting fewer officers in their community. And in doing so, they're demonstrating their own weakness and inefficiency. The Department of Homeland Security released an extensive list of the violence that has been caused by the leftist rioters in Portland in recent days. That's a lot of stuff. I don't have to read all that. Ugh, that's a lot of stuff. Just scroll through it. Lots of uses of the word violent. Riots. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of fucking stuff. I'm glad I didn't start reading. This is a developing news story. Refresh the page for updates. Going back to the email. That was the last of that. Now we move on to the Daily Wire for today. That's Sunday, July 19th. North Carolina Teachers Union demands benefits for illegal immigrants before returning to school. What is with these teachers unions getting all so too big for their britches and making these crazy fucking demands? What the fuck? I mean, first, it was the LA Teachers Union that said that schools wouldn't open unless, what was it? It was two things. Damn it. I can't remember. It was two ridiculous things. And now this. Crap, what was it? What were those fucking crazy demands? I don't remember. Probably something to do with Black Lives Matter and something to do with COVID. Anyway. More information and photos emerge of elite unit deployed to Portland to stop violent extremists. I feel like I want to die. Alex Trebek will stop cancer treatments if latest round fails. Oh no. Poor Alex Trebek. Nick Cannon says black community called him a sellout for apologizing for anti-Semitic remarks. I doubt it was the entire black community, but if it was the core black community, then that's a problem too. God. Racism is, yes, very prevalent in the black community. Wallace and Trump clash after Trump claims Biden wants to defund the police. Well, even if it's not something that he personally wants, it's something that he is poised to cave to with his platform and his weakness. There's a bunch of ads